Hello, fellow pipers. Janez here,
Silviu here.
and welcome to the 20-minute pipe show with Silviu and Janez on this cloudy and almost rainy Saturday morning here in Slovenia.
And very sunny and beautiful day here in Romania.
Great. So today I'm smoking this Big Ben Manhattan that my colleague here in Slovenia repaired for me, the stem that broke, and in
I
it,
love that.
Pese Canoe Latakia Flake 40.
I'm smoking some Bosun cut plug, the amazing Bosun cut plug by Gawit Hogarth. In this, 1976 Downhill Bulldog, your birth year, Root Briar, in incredibly good condition. Yes. I've started smoking again some Gawit Hogarth. I took a bit of a break smoking something else, and I'm so happy to be back.
Okay. Well, since we're talking about pipe smoking and we are both smoking flakes right now. So the Boston cut plug also comes in flakes. Already
Yes.
cut, yeah. And my Latakia flake 4.
It's a broken flake, but still a flake.
Yes, yeah. I know. But it was a flake when it was meant to be cut, not being a plug or being a mixture. And I'm smoking the Latakia flake. It is also somehow in the same family of flakes, meaning a bit thicker ones. So for me, to prepare a tobacco like this means that I have to rub it out. I'm not doing a stuff and a fold and stuff method with flakes like this. Usually I don't do with flake stuff and fold and stuff because I just enjoy rubbing them out and smoking them like that. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, people should make the distinction between old-fashioned flakes and modern flakes. Modern flakes are made with the intent of being smoked, fold and stuff. But old-fashioned flakes like Gawit Hogarth, Samuel Gawit, and these Pese Canoe flakes are not made with so when they invented this type of tobaccos, they only had in mind a solution for a tobacco to take less space, especially for sailors, let's say, that this way they won't have to carry a big bag of tobacco with them, but something smaller. And the other idea was to make something that will keep the moisture for longer. So I recommend never smoke Gawit flakes, fold and stuff. They were not meant for this. And I see a lot of people crying about the fact that Samuel Gawit flakes and Gawit Hogarth flakes are too wet. You have to understand, these are handmade, old-fashioned tobaccos, made like hundreds of years ago. They don't use propylene glycol and all those humectants and stuff like that that keep the moisture in the tobaccos. So their solution is more water. Okay, so you see this by, if you open you have let's say a downhill blend in a jar for 5 years and you open it, it's still moist, or it takes a long time, like Boswell's Northwoods. You can barely dry it out, But these flakes, although they are very wet, they dry out very quickly. If you rub them out, you don't have to wait a long time. So they are natural tobaccos. So I think we should leave them alone and let them make them moist like this, because this means that they don't use chemicals and humectants and stuff like that. So this is what is great about them, all of the thing that is great about them. So I always extra rub Gawit flakes. Rub them until they're fluffy. The tobacco is very opened up and fluffy. This, you will get the full taste and the full experience, in my opinion.
Yeah. Maybe this is also with the Gavitt Hogarth Samuel Gavitt brand. It's also about how well their tins are sealed, and with this they can stay longer time in the shops, not drying out because they are not sealed well. Let's say at least most of them.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Gawit Hogarth, and I've seen the same thing in an interview with Germain. They say their tobaccos are not made for keeping a long time, so they don't, because they don't use these chemicals to keep the tobacco fresh. So they recommend smoking it fresh. They are cooking it. They have their methods to make it seem like aged anyway, you know. So they don't put them in too much vacuum, and they don't use chemicals to keep the moisture. So their recommendation is to buy it and smoke it and not keep it. But we know now we can buy those vacuum machines and put some plastic and vacuum the tins, and it's okay. So yeah, same with Pesecanoe. They are not vacuumed, and they look very similar to Gawit, Samuel Gawit flakes. So you need to rub them well.
And they get dry quickly.
Quickly, yeah.
Tobacco gets dry quickly. That is something that because I'm still keeping some of the tobacco in the tin and the tin in the plastic bag, but they are drying out anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
If they would have a lot of humectants being sprayed on them, the humectant is actually keeping the moisture, extracting the moisture from environment and so on, so the tobacco doesn't get dry too quickly. Or you have certain aromatics that are very wet all the time, and people are drying them for hours and days, and they are still wet.
Yeah, Boswell's, Northwoods, McClelland. What is that? McClelland with the frog? Frog Morton. You can barely dry them. You put them on some paper and you wait and see. It's the same. It's the humectants that does that. While you rub some Gawit Hogarth, and in 10 minutes you already see it's going to dry totally. So although they might scare you, look how wet they are in the first place. But it won't take long to bring them to a good moisture level, let's say.
So to conclude this, preparing the tobacco for smoking is important to avoid certain issues later on while smoking, at least how I see it. So taking time to prepare. In the past, what I was doing when I started to smoke a pipe, I heard and saw later on when I bought Samuel Gavitt tobaccos that they're wet. So what I did, I just opened the tin so the tin lose the seal, and then I closed it and I left it on the table here on the bench to slowly oxygenate and dry out a little bit for, let's say, 2 weeks. But the tin was closed. So not sealed anymore, but closed. So it slowly but surely dried out a little bit and oxygenated at the same time. And I got a good result with that. Let's say Candle, sorry, just to finish, Candle Dark, the new blend, the Gavitt Hogarth is selling now, is totally wet. It's a shack cut or similar to shack cut, very fine cut, let's say, and it's totally wet. So the first time that I opened the tin, it was on our Pipe Club gathering. I had to actually put it out of the tin on the piece of paper or something like that and let it dry a little bit because it was really wet and would only clog the pipe. at least.
Yes, yeah, they are old-fashioned tobaccos. This is what people should take from this. They are not easy to smoke because they don't have like Macbeth and another thing that probably people don't know. These modern tobacco companies, let's say, they also use burning agents. So they spray something in the tobacco. I heard Per Jensen talking about this. That will help tobacco burn well. So Gawit Hogarth doesn't have that. Germain doesn't have that. In my opinion, thank God we still have this handmade, handcrafted, old-fashioned tobaccos. They're a different experience. It takes a learning curve. That's why I don't believe when people say, "Oh, that pipe is a great smoker." You know my opinion. Pipes don't smoke. It's how well you know to prepare, to pack, to choose.
The smoke is coming out of the pipe.
Yeah, but it's just pipe is just a tool. It's not great in any way. It's how you use the tool. You know, it's just a tube like this with an airway. That's it. There is nothing more special or complicated about a pipe.
Yeah, it has a chamber
Yes,
for the tobacco and the the place where you put your mouth to draw. That's it. Yeah, I understand.
yes, a great pipe. It's a light pipe with a great mouthpiece that looks great, that the briar was properly cured and dried. And yes, but how it smokes, it has nothing with the pipe. It has everything to do with how great of a smoker you are. So these Gawit tobaccos, you know, are the most special to me. They're old-fashioned. They take a bit of work, but the results are great. And by the way, after Brexit, we didn't have Gawit tobaccos here in Romania. We had some Samuel Gawit here and there, but I used to smoke them 20 years ago all the time, but they disappeared after Brexit. But 2 days ago, we got some Gawit Hogarth and some Samuel Gawit here in Romania. And I can see why one of the problems that make them expensive is this thing. Each tin now sold in EU has to have a unique barcode.
Yeah. No, it's a
That
QR code and it's called track and trace.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
need the expensive machinery to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, and
But look how this.
when
Sorry,
I'm buying
please.
tobacco, no, it's okay. When I'm buying tobacco at the distributor, they always need to like reading the barcode. They have to read the QR code and then confirm something, and this data then goes to the customs office and so on. So every piece of tobacco is accounted for. Every tin, every pouch is accounted for, and they cannot like just play with this and give away stuff or I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's
And
quite.
another thing that makes it.
So I
Sorry,
wanted to say that
please.
this is only adding the cost to the business and at the end cost to the tobacco product that we are buying. This is what I wanted to say. It's not about that
Yeah. That's
somebody
why
would
I
be
pay
smuggling
almost.
pipe tobacco.
Yeah. That's why it's almost 30 euros, 50 grams of tobacco. But another thing that makes it, I don't know, makes their job harder is this. I mean, first of all, look how disgusting. This is the only part that has to do with the branding of tobacco, of this brand. But the rest, it's horrifying. But this thing, they have to put labels in every language of the European Union. So they, the exporter or Gawit Hogarth directly, needs
Yeah,
to write in Romanian these
yeah.
warnings, in Slovenian, in French, in German.
I
So
would be very happy if there would be a Slovenian language on the Gawit tins, meaning
yeah,
that they would
yeah,
be
yeah,
sold here. They are not sold
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
I mean, we don't
at the
have too many
factory. They need
blends.
to do it at the factory.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have too many blends. We have maybe 8 or 9 Gawit and Samuel Gawit. But thank God we have full Virginia Flake and St. James Flake and Bob's Chocolate Flake. You know, it's almost 30 euros a tin, but God damn it. They're my favorite tobaccos, and I cried after them for 10 or 12 years after Brexit.
Well, we will see what will be in the second half of the year when some members of our pipe club, we are going to Hamburg, to Germany, as a trip. And we are planning to visit some fine tobacco shops in Hamburg. This is like, we're talking about this for 2 years, and now we went to Valencia, to Bilbao, to Spain. Even prices there are better, of course. But now we are going to Hamburg, to Germany. And since near Hamburg or the outskirts of Hamburg, you can find Coop tobacco and Den tobacco. I'm planning to write to the management of these two companies if they would let us in and provide a short visit or going around the factory or presentation or something. And I think that if they will go with this, we will have a great time. But otherwise, we will go around, look at do some sightseeings, and go to some of the really fine shops they have there.
Yeah, and now Gawit Hogarth sells Samuel Gawit Hogarth and Kendall. Nobody knows. It's a typical European company. They don't give a shit about informing anybody about anything. So we don't understand why some brands are called Kendall, some Gawit Hogarth.
Yeah, it's strange. It's like there are some new blends that are similar to some that are already existing, but they are in a different line of tobaccos. I mean, maybe this is just the way how they are being sold or something like that.
Yeah, man, this Boston cut plug and Coniston cut plug. I wish we had this. I would like to be buried when I die in them. I love them so much.
Maybe they would have a press to put tobacco around you and on the bottom and the top and press, and then put this plug into the coffin, and then everything would go. And 3,000 years later, you would still be intact.
Yeah. Press me and impress me. Yeah. And call the blend Silvius Grave. Silvius Grave cut plug.
So as I could understand from what you're saying, you really like Bosom cut plug.
Yes. Yes.
The aroma, it's not too strong, or is it stronger than in some other tobaccos?
I mean, usually Gawit Hogarth makes tobaccos that are always, let's say, strong enough. I mean, they have some Cavendish blends that I never tried, but usually they're Virginia Burley. This is Virginia and Kentucky. 75% Virginia, I think the rest is Kentucky. But Coniston cut plug, it's 75% Kentucky, so Burley, and the rest Virginia. So they're on my alley, Virginia Burley and this, how they're called, Lakeland Essence, but very good ones.
But this tobacco, we already smoked and said what they think about. I just want to emphasize it's a good blend. It's nice to try it, nice to smoke it. However, we both, and I'm still getting this extra aroma regarding how the Latakia is tasting or smelling. It's a little bit more perfumey, and it's interesting, really. Not a typical, let's say, English blend.
Yeah, I see that Turkey brings, so we cried about McBaron and stuff suddenly going down, but other companies are emerging from Turkey. I've seen a lot of companies in Argentina. Jose Luis, my friend, tell us about some tobaccos that you have there made in Argentina. So I think the market will equalize and bring some new stuff to replace
Now,
the old stuff.
now that you mentioned Luis, Jose Luis, he always says, "Oh, I'm smoking this blend and that blend" in his comments, and it seems like he has
Yes.
access to a number of old, I mean, a lot of blends that we
Yeah.
have or don't have here. But I think he has a good access to the tobacco. I don't know if they are importing those blends or he's traveling and buying. I don't know, but he's smoking a lot and he's from South America.
From Argentina. Yeah, he has some knowledge about old pipes and old tobaccos, and yeah, he's like us,
Okay,
interested in old stuff.
now you had a prophecy before we started the
Yeah, we all
tell us
start.
about this and then we will finish the video.
We all start more or less. In general, we all start with aromatic tobaccos. Then we move to Latakia blends. Then we move to Virginia Burley and something weirder. But in the end, we all end up smoking Virginia. Mark my words. It's the same with pipes. You start by liking bigger pipes, then weirder shapes and stuff like that. You start liking the rusticated ones, then you like the sandblasted ones. I've been through all this, so I know. But I know that in the end, we will all end up smoking Virginia blends in smooth pipes. Mark my words. In this case, root briar. Okay, so you are in the middle of the, let's say, I'm going towards the end. I hope this is not the end because I'm starting to smoke Virginia and move to loving smooth pipes. I hope it's not the end, and I hope the Silvius Grave blend is not close, let's say, to making.
Yeah, but maybe to conclude with this thought that is part of the lyrics of one song, when they, if we are watching media these days, we could easily say it's the end of the world as we know it. You know.
It's the end of the world as we know it. Yeah.
Okay, fellas, thank you for taking time and watching. I hope you found this interesting about how to prepare the tobacco and other stuff. And until we meet again, I wish you all a lot of pleasant smokes.